Hi, thanks for taking the time to watch this video on my introduction to natural management. When it comes to leadership training, it seems like there's a few main themes out there. The first theme deals with taking an individual and stretching them way outside their comfort zone. And the hope is, once they're outside their comfort zone, they realize their true potential. The second theme deals with taking an individual and helping them understand the personalities of the people they lead. And the hope is, once they understand the personalities, they'll modify their leadership style to suit the individuals. Now, there's nothing wrong with these approaches. However, they seem a little bit inefficient to me. And in many cases, I think we're trying to change the personality of the leaders. When it comes to changing someone's personality, let's see how effective we're going to be. Research has shown that by the time we reach age 7, our personality traits are pretty much fully developed, and those traits stay with us the rest of our lives. Now, they may change a little bit. As we get older, we mellow a little bit, or there might be some major events in our lives that change some of those traits. However, by and large, we are who we are by the time we reach age 7. Now, I'm not going to try and change your personality because I know that's going to be very difficult. All I'm going to do is show you a process you already use and already affects many parts of your life and help you understand it better. And as you begin to understand it better, you're not only going to lead your teams more effectively, you're going to lead yourself more effectively without having to change your personality or theirs. Now, when it comes to effective leadership, there is one key thing we need to understand, and that's how we learn. And this is the best way I've heard learning described to me. Learning is when we consciously entertain an idea, we get emotionally involved with that idea, we act on the idea, and we achieve results. This is the simplest explanation I've ever had for learning. And it really does make a lot of sense. Now let's look at this description in the form of a diagram I call the learning cycle. I feel safe in saying that this cycle has a major impact on everything we've ever learned or been led to believe. Now the cycle goes like this. Ideas are planted in our minds and we become emotionally involved with them. Now these ideas come from various sources: the media, our family, our friends, our desire to achieve our own goals, just to name a few. After we get emotionally involved with them, we put a plan together and we implement them. And then we follow up to see if we've achieved any results. Now if the results are worth the effort, we're probably going to carry through with this idea again. Now this is a very important process to understand because it also explains how our habits are formed. And I go into more depth in my program when it comes to developing habits. Let's see how much this process has changed in the last 50,000 years. In order to demonstrate this, it's time for another story. I would like you to imagine a group of cavemen sitting around a campfire 50,000 years ago. And at one point during the evening, one bright fellow turns to his friend and says, "You know what? If we hunted down one of those mammoths out there, we'd have enough food for a month." Now the first time he brings up the idea, his friend probably thinks he's crazy. I can just imagine him going, "We can't do that. Look at the size of those things. They'll kill us." But they begin to think about the idea for a while, and after they do that, they become emotionally involved with it due to the thought of all the food that they can get. And after they get emotionally involved with the idea, they decide to go ahead with a plan. Now the first time they implement the plan, I'd be very surprised if they were successful. I mean, look at this poor fellow over here. He's not having a very good day, is he? Now the group probably came back to the camp feeling quite deflated by the failure. However, at some point during the night around the campfire, one of them might have spoken up and said, "You know what? That's the closest we've ever been to a mammoth." And the others would have said, "You know what? You're right." And because they recognize the fact that it's the closest they've ever been to a mammoth, they decide to give it another go. So what just happened here? Why give it another go after the first attempt was such a disaster? Well, the answer's simple. They learned something from the first attempt. Let's go to the learning cycle to see how this works. So here we have the learning cycle, and this is how the process went. They came up with the idea to get the mammoth, and they became emotionally involved with the idea. And as a result, they put a plan together, and they implemented the plan. But they took one major step. They followed up to see if they achieved any results. And at first what looked like a major disaster actually did produce some results. And that was the fact that they got closer to the mammoth than ever before. And as a result, it motivated them to try again. Now they probably went through this cycle a number of times before they finally got the mammoth. However, at each time they went through the cycle, they learned a little bit more. So as a result, they learned how to get their prize. Now there's nothing better than a story with a happy ending. Everybody had mammoth meat for a month. Now if you think about it, has this process changed at all in the last 50,000 years? Just look at your smartphone. Is it the result of a one-time effort? The answer is obviously no, because its roots go back to this phone here, something they used to call the brick. And over time, phone manufacturers learned to build this unit over here, which represents the phones we have today. So what does learning have to do with leading? Well, let's look at the learning cycle again, but let's change a few things this time. Let's call it the leadership cycle, And let's change a few of the words in the description. So here's the description of the leading cycle. Leading is when we get our team consciously entertaining ideas, we get our team emotionally involved with ideas, we get our team to act on the idea, and we achieve results. So as you can see, the description of the leading cycle is very similar to the description of the learning cycle. So here we have the leadership cycle in the form of a diagram. And again, it's very similar to the learning cycle. Our job as leaders is to plant ideas into the minds of our team members, and then we get them emotionally involved with those ideas. And after that, we help them plan and implement the ideas. Then as a group, we follow up to see if we've achieved any results. Now, if we achieve results, there's a good chance our team's going to follow through with the idea again. Now, understanding the learning cycle and its power is key to effective leadership because it's our job as leaders to help our teams learn how to achieve results. The concept is simple. If you run this cycle effectively, you're going to lead effectively. And remember, you already use it. As you proceed with my program, you're going to learn more about this simple cycle and its power to motivate not only your team, but also yourself to achieve significant results, all the while without having to change your personality or the personality of those you lead. Now in the next video, you're going to learn about quantum physics and leadership. And right about now, you're probably going, what? What does quantum physics have to do with leadership? Well, as I said earlier, I believe this is a fundamental process that exists in nature. Now, how much more fundamental can we get than the building blocks for everything in the universe? I hope you enjoy it.